Hey everyone, and welcome back to NintendoFuse Game Chat. Today we're going to be talking about Soko Penguin on Nintendo Switch. So Soko Penguin is this chill, cozy puzzler where you basically control a penguin. And it's a top-down adventure where he's trying to get home to his igloo on 100 different levels. They gradually get increasingly complex because this penguin cannot make it home that easy. Apparently, he has 100 different homes, and all 100 of them have more and more things that are keeping him from getting to his home. So you got to figure out how to push these blocks around on the different stages and eventually get him to his home. Pretty simple game, but there are some challenging brain-teasing puzzles as you go along. You definitely play, and then all of a sudden you'll hit some places where you're like, oh, wait, now I got to think about this. Yeah, before we get into any recommendations, let's chat about our experience. So, Barry, what'd you think of Soko Penguin?
Yeah, so this is a game we saw in one of the East Asia soft showcases, and we all expressed that we were interested in it. And I grew up with a game called Sokoban, one of my favorite games growing up. My dad and I used to play it. We loved it. It's also known as Boxel on other platforms, but we knew it as Sokoban. And when I saw this, it was like, oh, this is really bringing back those memories. And like, let's give this a try. And it was very different while also similar. I was expecting like, oh, put all the blocks in a certain puzzle and then I can go home. I didn't realize I had to just clear a path to go home. And at first I was like, okay, this is very simple. Like, this is a nothing game. And then the puzzles started getting hard. Like they lured you in like a like false sense of security. And then it started to get challenging to the point where I was like, I have to restart a couple times and I got to figure out the way to do this. And I really enjoyed that. And it gets to the point where it's not just getting to the home, but then you have to get the bridge is like an electric bridge and you have to turn the power on. So you have to turn the battery pretty much in the socket and you got to figure out the way to get the battery there. And then they start having spikes and spikes will destroy you or destroy whatever. And it's like, okay, this is getting more complicated, and I'm here for it. I like it. I This impressed me in the sense of the puzzles. I thought I'm gonna roll over these levels. Like I'm gonna get bored, and then it like no, one more, keep going. One more,
Yeah.
what's the next one? Keep going. And they give you these little hats you can wear. Like every 10 levels, you unlock a new hat, and you can choose whatever you want. And it's cute. It's completely customary, or it doesn't have any effect. It's and yeah, it very much impressed me. And one thing I really liked in the original Sokoban, and I believe it's like that in Boxa, you couldn't push two boxes together. And in
Hmm.
this, you could push multiple together. And I'm like, that's a game changer. And sometimes, you could actually get rid of other blocks. Like you could push them into the water or you push them into spikes to completely get rid of them from the obstacle course. And I like that. It's super chill, relaxing music. It's not a graphical and intensive game, but it's definitely a game to pick up when you really like. I can do like 5 levels, 10 levels, whatever. I just want to challenge my brain. I would not recommend doing all 100 in one sitting, unless that's really your jam. Steve's like, I already did that, and maybe he did, but but yeah, it's definitely it's surprised me.
Yeah.
It surpassed my expectations.
Yeah. I didn't play all 100, but I played about 30 in one setting. Because,
Hey,
like you
that's what I
said,
did. I did 30 in a sitting.
yeah, because you get into it and you're like, oh, just one more. Oh, just one more. Oh, just one more. And then you get a challenging one. I'm like, well, I can't stop here. I got to beat this one. And then you're like, just one more. Yeah, I think there's a lot of times where, yeah, I just ended up pushing all the blocks into the way. I'm just like, get out of my way. I just want to clear this entire path, push them all into the water. Yeah, I think it's really nice not having a timer. And it's really nice not having any sort of moves like you can only do this in 10 moves or less or whatever. It's completely, just it's a cozy game. It's a chill puzzle game. Take your time, do whatever you need to do. And sometimes you'll get stuck and you can't continue. So you just restart the level and you figure out, you can't get that block stuck in a corner because you can't move it anymore. So, okay, you got to find another way around. And there was one, I think it was like level 13 or something like that. It was the first time, it was somewhere around there where all of a sudden, like I was cruising along, no problem at all. And then all of a sudden, like, oh no, how do I do this? And but then eventually it clicks, and then you're smooth sailing again for another few levels, and then something hits, and I think that was good. The only real pushback that I have about this game is its controls. The penguin moves by squares, or like, and so you don't see a grid on the screen necessarily, but he moves by grid. And so a lot of times I would be holding down either on the analog stick or the control pad and just expect him to stop moving when I lifted up my thumb, but he would still possibly, if he was on the border between the one grid that you were in and the next grid, he would keep on moving. And sometimes I ran into spikes or run or jumped in the water, and killed the penguin, uh, on accident because I wasn't anticipating. I thought he'd be stopping as soon as I lifted up my thumb, and that's not the case. So you kind of have to get used to tapping the button instead of holding it down sometimes. Once I got that, it was fine, but it would have been nice if that wasn't the case. And honestly, it still just shocks me that a penguin can't be in water. Why does that kill him? But you know, that's a little thing. So, anything that, yeah, negatives that stand out to you at all, Barry?
The control thing didn't bother me. In fact, I actually preferred it, especially when the spikes were there, because it was always like that paranoia of like, oh, am I going to be too close?
Sure.
And I can take comfort in knowing that unless the only way I'm getting closer is if I purposely push it. So I found that to be good. I didn't even really bother me with the grid. And these type of games, you really need a grid because it's a block pushing. So each time you push a block, it's going to go over one grid space. Yeah, no, I just thought the water thing is just weird. It's funny that a penguin can't go into it, but otherwise, no, it surpassed my expectations because it was looked simple, and especially starting off, I'm like, these are really easy. Like I'm gonna be so bored doing this, and this is not going to challenge me, and it does. And I was,
Mhm.
by the teens and the 20s, I was really getting challenged. In the 30s, it only ramps up and it goes up to 100. So, and what's nice is you can quit anytime and you can come back and you could play any level that you've already played, so you could instantly jump back into wherever it is you stopped, which is nice. So you could do 5 levels at a time or whatever. You can, if you're on a plane, or your car, or you've got a meeting in 5 minutes, oh, let me just pick this up and I can play a level or two. And like you said, it's cozy. So in that regards, nah, I didn't honestly have a negative. If this sounds like your type of game, I think they did a good job. I mean, is
Yep.
it super ultra 3D graphical heavy intensive? No, but it doesn't need to be.
Yep.
It,
Yep. Well, the game right now is $4.99 on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and that is its regular price. But for $5 here in the US, pretty much a steal, I think, for what we're talking about. I think we would both recommend this game. We did get it given to us by East Asia Soft, so thank you so much to East Asia Soft for providing us codes so that we can get this review to you all. But yeah, I think it's glowing reviews all around for us here at Nintendo Fuse. It's a fun game, super cheap, and lots of challenge there. 100 levels, definitely enough to keep you coming back for more. Barry, any closing thoughts?
like you said, I think $5 is a steal. Any cheaper than that, of course. As long as this sounds like something you would like. If you're like, oh, I hate block pushing games, and that sounds like torture, then no, don't. But if this sounds like something you would be up for, I think they did a good job. I think the price is very much worth it, and like the amount of content you're getting is great, and especially in that pick up and play nature of the Switch, and just like play for 5 minutes at a time, and just have fun. You're not getting a deep story. Penguin go to home. There you go. But yeah, I do think it's worth it.
Cool. Well, thanks again to East Asia Soft for providing us codes, and thanks for everybody tuning in to this game chat. If you like these sort of things, be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube, and also check out NintendoFuse.com for more reviews and our podcast and interviews and so much more. Thanks, Barry, for checking out this game with me, and we'll catch you next time.